And we're not stopping there. Because with all the development and construction going on in St. Kitts and being moved faster at a higher level on the team unity, I'm sure when the Prime Minister comes, he'll tell you about the economic growth that's going on in comparison to the other islands in the OECS. It is predicted that in the next 5 years, the demand will be increased rather by some 18 megawatts, from 25 megawatts at peak period to some 43 or 44 megawatts. And we are not sitting idly by. The Park Hyatt will soon come on stream. And the Park Hyatt, of course, will put a demand on our national grid. We have already had discussions with the Park Hyatt, and they are providing their own generation, our own generator, beg your pardon, as a backup to our system. But in the meanwhile, we are looking at geothermal, because as we have said before, it must be irresponsible of us as an administration if we did not establish whether there's a geothermal resource on St. Kitts. And mark you, we are blessed with 2 volcanoes, you know, one in Nevis and one in St. Kitts. So why not establish, having established the resource on Nevis, why not establish whether there is a resource on St. Kitts? And if that is established, we will then determine how best to develop that resource without retarding the progress on Nevis. And that's our position. Just today, we had discussions, and we're looking at the roadmap as it relates to development, and in due course, we'll give you more information. But the prognosis, I can tell you, things look good for geothermal in St. Kitts and geothermal on Nevis, and both will complement each other. As I wind down my family, I must also say, as it relates to water as well, finally, that the Park Hyatt is providing its own desalination plant. The Marriott has its own desalination plant. But we are also looking at La Valley, where there's a plant lying there for almost 10 years. Almost 10 years, costing millions of dollars. And we are looking at that plant as well to see how best to retrofit that plant, get it up and running, because desalination is another option, and perhaps a very good option, where we ought to go as it comes to water development. I can tell you as well about the ports, but my time is run out, and I can speak to you all night because I feel so comfortable here with you. I feel good with you, you know. You feel good too? I feel good. But I'll wind down here because your leader and our leader has to talk. And my friend Enver has questions as well, I'm sure, and you have questions. So I want to leave you as I started my family. Do not be fooled by these oppositionists. Some people, they oppose PAM when PAM was in. They turn Labour. When Labour come in, they turn PAM. No, we don't mean PAM and Labour and CCM and NRP. They want to form their own party. Good night. I love you.
At this time, we call our Attorney General, the Honorable Vincent Byron. Give him a round of applause as he comes, please.
Working for you.
Before I start, I would just like to recognize Mr. Prime Minister and to thank him as a member of Cabinet for the indefatigable, tireless work that he does and that he demands of each and every one of us who sits in the cabinet with him. He keeps you going 7 days a week, all the time. And we have had a very meaningful day already at cabinet, discussing a wide range of matters. I'd also want to recognize my colleagues, Senator Phipps, who gave us a very good update on the matters relating to you here in Constitution number 7, the Molineux Mary Charles Hospital that has been down for some time. We now learn that it's going to be up and running very shortly, as well as other very important facilities and matters relating to health in the country. And of course, Minister Ian Patches Liebert, what can I say? He has told us very clearly that there are plans afoot to make us so much more self-sufficient when it comes to the supply of water throughout St. Kitts, as well as giving us good roads, as he says, no more pothole dodging. This evening, as I begin, I want to say to you that we have been informed by the Honorable Chief Justice, who is based in St. Lucia, that the resident judge, our resident judge, Justice Marlene Carter, has brought her stint here in St. Kitts to an end as of the 15th of August this year. We would like to offer our appreciation to Judge Carter for her unstinted work here in St. Kitts. She has been committed, she has been hardworking, and she has been fair in what she has done on the court and has made a valuable contribution to the administration of justice here in St. Kitts. And so to Judge Carter, I think we should all say much thanks to you. We will therefore be receiving shortly a new judge by the end of August, so that come the beginning of the new law year, which begins in September, we'll have a new judge. It's important to point out that this time last year, at the end of the May criminal assizes, that we had a very poor showing in terms of how we were performing our DPP. And this year, when we only did 4 cases for May, June, July, this year we have been able to complete 22. And so I want to give our thanks and appreciation for Mr. Isan Grandison, who has been acting as DPP up to the end of August, as well as Senior Counsel, Queen's Counsel, Dane Hamilton of Antigua, who has been working with us over the last months to ensure that the criminal justice system continues to perform and to work well. Just last week, we were able to have a panel, have interviews with some 3 leading counsel from around the region, looking to have a permanent DPP appointed. We had 2 applicants, 2 candidates to counsel from Trinidad and Tobago, 1 a Vincentian based in the BVI, were all interviewed by a panel involving the Cabinet Secretary, the head, the PS of Human Resources, who is also the Chief Personnel Officer. The Solicitor General was part of that panel, as well as Mr. Hamilton, Dane Hamilton. The interviews went very well. And so shortly, we will be making a selection as to someone who will perform the duties of the Director of Public Prosecutions. The DPP is the Chief Prosecutor for St. Kitts and Nevis. It is a constitutional position that looks at all the criminal activity that's done. He advises on who to be charged, and he prosecutes those in the High Court. And so we will fill that position for the next few years very shortly. And so we are happy that we are moving along and the success that we are showing in the administration of the criminal justice system. I want to say that in addition to having a new High Court judge here come September, that the Team Unity government, despite the successes we have been having recently and the increased number of cases we are doing, there's still a backlog that we have inherited. And so we have been able to get the Chief Justice, based in St. Lucia, to agree to us establishing a second High Court in Bastia. And so in the Llewellyn-Moore complex, judicial complex, we will have a second High Court chamber. There'll be 2 chambers that will be working upstairs in the High Court in Bastia. It also means that we will also have a second resident judge here in St. Kitts who will be assisting us to bring down the backlog in the criminal matters. And so we'll be having a new DPP appointed shortly, as well as we'll have 2 judges here in St. Kitts to work on the backlog and extension of cases that we have. The criminal justice system is very critical to us here in St. Kitts. We understand that there is a high incidence or increase in incidence in the whole criminal activity, gang activity. And so it's very, very important that we establish a strong criminal justice system. The courts, the rule of law, is what we have to believe in this country. And so we need to have a strong complement of prosecutors who will deal with the criminals when they come before them, who will work with the police to ensure that they do the proper investigations, that they can charge properly, so that when we carry them before the court, they will be convicted and put away. And so we reduce the crime here in this country. And so we are very working very hard to ensure that we establish such a regime that will affect, as it was, the criminal justice system and the whole administration of justice in general. In addition to our work at the High Court that is going on at the moment, we have begun work in Bastia, in District A, to establish a third magistrates court. And so over the next couple months, we will be then opening up a third magistrates court in addition to the 2 that currently exist in Bastia. This again will assist in speeding up the way in which trials are being held, not only in terms of criminal trials, but as well as the backlog of civil matters. When you want to sue somebody, you don't want to have 6 months passing, 8, 9 months passing, and by having a third court, it will now speed up the whole administration of justice in the magistrates' court. We therefore will be looking forward to putting that in place shortly. I want this evening to bring to you one of the departments that we have in the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs that you should be aware of and that can assist each and every one of you in matters that you may want assistance with. This is the Legal Aid and Advice Center. The Legal Aid and Advice Center. This is a department that is established on West Independence Square. Currently, we have a director of legal aid, and this office provides low-cost legal services and representation to persons of low income, those who have difficulty in being able to afford lawyers. It's an important office that can assist many of you who want to get assistance when you have problems. The Legal Aid and Advice System at this center, we provide services such as legal advice, legal representation, and legal assistance in a wide range of matters. These include such things as juvenile matters. If you have children who get themselves in trouble or anything of that nature, the Legal Aid Advice Center can assist. We have maintenance matters, custody matters, questions of adoption, divorce, a whole wide range of stuff. If you have letters to be written, questions of personal injury, hire purchase affidavits, if you take before court for debts and so on, the Legal Aid and Advice Center can assist you. We serve all persons who are unable to afford an attorney. There are a lot of private lawyers in St. Kitts and Nevis who can assist if you can afford it. But those you may not be able to afford it. And so this office is set up to assist in being able to have you if you have to go before the court. This office sees a lot of, especially women, people who work for minimum wage, the elderly, and youth who need legal advice and or representation at court. But, of course, in some cases, depending on hardship, the office will also work to assist you. And in some cases, a reasonable fee is charged. But if you can't afford it, well, arrangements can also be made as well. I want to tell you that this legal aid office, although based in Bastia on West Independence Square, has begun this year an outreach program. There are visits to rural communities to provide increased access to you. And so I want to encourage you, if you do need legal representation, to listen out for when such a clinic, such a legal aid center can visit you. Normally they will attend at the local community center. The first visit this year, for instance, was in Keyon on the 15th of February. And then in March, we went to Sandy Point. We are here in Lodge in 18th April this year. And so on Old Road, St. Peter's, Keys, Challengers, St. Paul's, Parsons, Connery. And just today, the clinic was in Sandy Point. We have had 14 visits this year, and you must listen up for the schedule. This office is a critical one in dispensing justice for us. We would intend to add another lawyer to this clinic so that we can give and assist people throughout. I have to make sure that you get a full range of the Prime Minister. So I just want very quickly just to talk briefly about a piece of legislation that was passed to assist you and those who may have difficulties in getting your inheritance if a parent died or some relative that is close to you may have passed away. That person may have had a property. They may have money in a bank. They may have money like a car. They might have property like a car. And when you go to register it, you find you don't have the papers and so forth. This year, or that would have been last year, we went to Parliament and passed or varied, amended an act called the Small Estates Act. Now, this is an act that if the value of what your relative that has passed away may have left was $5,000 or less, you could get a simple form and carry it to the registry in Bastia and get it filled out to get access. But more and more, the value was higher than that. And it may mean having to go to a lawyer and having to file a whole set of papers in the court that could sometimes take months and months. So this very simple process of the Small Estates Act that can help you to access legal services to get the benefits of your deceased who are close to you is one in which would be very helpful. This has now increased from $5,000 up to $25,000. So second-hand car, some bit of property, and so on that you have. You're allowed to fill out this form, file it with the registry, and this will be very helpful, as it was, in assisting as we go along. These are some of the things that we can say has happened over the last months, the last 18 months, by the Team Unity government to assist you to be able to live a better life and so forth. I wanted to bring those few things to you. As I close, I want to just talk about one last thing, and this has to do to you who have an interest in technology, those of you who have children, young children, who like to play on their smartphones, have their laptops and so on, that we are entering into a very exciting age here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Just last week, Prime Minister and Minister Liebert and I visited at the new ICT Center on Paul Southwell Industrial Park. This center, we hope, will be opened in a few weeks. And at this center, we will be doing a whole range of new things involved in IT, in information and communications technology. We'll be training people in the use of computers and software. We'll be encouraging and training young people to make apps to do various things for your small business, for various ways that can see them grow and enter the new world, the digital world that we have emerging. And it's very important because with hotels and all sorts of new businesses coming about, we need to have our people properly trained and exposed, as it was, to the new technologies that are there. And so this is very exciting. And as I close, I want you to look forward to the opening. And with those few words, I would like to thank you very much.